9-10.
It's officially baseball season, folks. Welcome in. Rocket Manuch with Jimmy B from Casino, Arizona in the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Hope you're having a great Monday. I'm getting a little feedback if that's okay with you guys. You can fix that as we are live here. And we will be here till 4 o'clock. And, of course, it's all Suns today. Sadly, it is all Suns. We'll throw in some draft talk as well. But Timberwolves finished them off yesterday with a 122-116 win. We all know that now. And now we get to talk about the offseason. We get to talk about, is it Bogle? Is it getting rid of Booker? Is it getting rid of Durant? I'm going to make a case for Booker that maybe it's time for him to leave at some point. It won't be a favorable take, I'm sure, by most fans, but it may be the one that may make this team get to a championship at some point. But a lot to get into, and, of course, the big question will be today, who is responsible for this collapse? And that's the poll question, our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question. Who is responsible for the Suns' collapse in the first round of the NBA playoffs? Now, Manuch writes the questions, and I will ask you this. Don't you have to be on top to collapse?
Well, they collapsed from regular season. They totally
finished in sixth place in their division.
Okay, they
49 wins.
They totally collapsed in this series.
No, they didn't. You would be up to collapse.
Oh, well, they never even they went 0-4. They were 0-4. They never even. So the way they ended, they won 7 out of the last 10 games to get in number 6 spot.
Okay. What
they did, they hit the playoffs. That's a total collapse of the team.
Total collapse?
Yes.
The collapse is usually somebody in first place most of the
year. No.
They fall apart. They barely squeaked in to get the playoff spot.
But
they should be fortunate. If this was any other given year without the expectations, not a bad year for the Suns.
Well, I just felt for them to finish the last 10 games, the toughest schedule in the NBA last 10 games, and for them to go to the playoffs and just look disoriented, disheveled, out of place, uninspired. For me, in my vernacular, I felt that they collapsed from where they had come from. And, for them to have that run and to see Bradley Beal get it, I mean, they were like, okay, they get it. So for me, in reference, I saw this was a collapse for them to go 0-4. I mean, against the Timberwolves, I know the Timberwolves, better team. I get it.
They're a better team.
You would have thought they'd win 2, or maybe on Friday, a must-win game. They win that game, but Minnesota wins it going away again.
Suns never led that game.
They never led.
No.
Not one time. Not one time.
Friday.
Not one time. And then again, their historic fourth quarter collapses. They allow the Timberwolves to score over 60 points in the second half. They can't keep up with them. All of a sudden, they get a little lead, and they throw 2 passes. They throw 2 passes away. Then they give up an offensive rebound. For me, just for that scenario where they were ahead, I was like, okay. And you, on top of that, you beat this team 3 times by 13 to 15 or more every time.
But we all know yesterday's game was going to be a loss in most cases. It's never happened before. 150 plus times a 3-0.
151-ish, something like that.
No one's ever come back. So
I know, but
they had already made their plans. They've already made their plans to go to Cancun or Galveston.
They came out with the effort. They came out with the effort. No, I felt initially, I'm going, where was this effort or desperation the first couple of games? I mean, they're like, okay, we have to win this game we get it. If you don't win it, you move on. But I mean, again, it just seemed like things caught up to them. Again, they talked about the details and this and that. I'm like, really, guys? I mean, you should have had this figured out maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago from your details and understanding this and that. Two statements. One from Book. The details matter. Really? KD, we got to make sure we're on the same page with details. I heard that twice. Guys, you guys are quasi-superstars. You guys are stars. You would think that would be figured out, unless the disconnect went deeper than I thought that we may have.
Let me just say this, and I picked up on this in game 1 of the playoffs. I disregarded the Suns winning the 3 times that they played during the regular season. I didn't pay any attention to that. But after game 1, when they got blown out, the key ingredient for me was Mike Conley, a veteran point guard who, even though the Timberwolves are young at a couple of positions, Ant-Man is only 22 years old. He is the guy who leads that team. For the Phoenix Suns, they have no leader. They have 3 stars. Neither one of them are leaders. What is Kevin Durant right now in Brooklyn? It failed miserably. He couldn't lead. at OKC, they lost in the finals, but they had a point guard in Russell Westbrook at that time, which Durant didn't have the pressure on him. So what did Durant do? He took a hiatus and went to the Golden State Warriors, where he didn't have to lead. He just had to be the best of Kevin Durant, and he was. And since that time, things have deteriorated. This team has no leadership qualities at all. When the players are on the court, the coach can only do so much.
So, to your point, Rock, will there be major changes? I think James Jones, if he's even still around after this debacle that we saw, they've got to make some changes to address why the disconnect, why nobody's paying attention to the details. It hurt them not to have that proverbial point guard.
Grayson Allen being out.
Grayson hurt them.
That hurt.
If you look at all the games he played this year, which was 95%
Sure.
plus, it ran through him.
Yes.
Yeah, he may not have been the lead scorer in all the games. He did lead the league in pointers. We all know all the numbers. But he's what made that freaking train run.
Yeah, he got
with
it,
this team.
He got it going
Yeah.
early on.
He was also their best defender.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he may not have been the point guard, the quarterback on the court, but I don't know. I just think him being on the court did make a difference with these three other big men, or not big men, the big three, I should say.
Especially when your big three only had 2 out of the big 3 getting to double digits. And Bradley Beal, what a debacle of a game that was yesterday.
And he showed he didn't want to be there. He already booked his plane ticket.
Oh man, it was hard to watch. It's so much promising season. Yes, the way they talked between games too. I don't know. It just there's something was a disconnect. I don't know. Too many cooks in the kitchen.